wanted to call out Insanity and Alarum for their performances. I think they're coming into this onto the LCS like virtual stage, I guess, with a lot of confidence and a lot of I don't know. They have been playing really well. In particular, Insanity, I think, has kind of been a revelation for a lot of people who have said NA mids are terrible, and also that like we don't have any readily available academy talent to move up. I think the barrier between academy players and LCS players is a lot smaller than people think. In addition, I think the barrier between academy teams and LCS teams is a lot smaller than people think. And I really like what these guys are doing, even though, yes, I know like Immortals lost. And in particular, they lost both of their games, especially the second one, in like really devastating fashion. I still really like what I've seen from these two guys, and I want IMT to stick with this lineup so that we can watch them grow.
Yeah, very close to seeing footage there. Yeah, I mean, IMT it's always an interesting topic with them because we were so concerned about this lineup and how many players were LCS level and McSmithy and everything. We're going to hear from McSmithy later, but nice to see that at least there's some positives to take away from this Immortals split.
Signs of life.
Signs of life, finally. Speaking of signs of life, Tyler, what did you love this past week in League of Legends?
I love that, this sheep community. I'm not saying everyone's sheep, but some people are finally starting to see that NA does have talent. And it's funny to me because I've been saying this for a long, long time that, North America has pretty much won a championship in almost every major esport. We've won in Counter-Strike. We've won in Dota. We've won even in StarCraft 2 with Neeb over in South Korea. And there's this sometimes this mindset of North American players in League of Legends can't be good at the game. They can't be world class for whatever reason. And now we're finally starting to see that maybe it's less so of the players and it's more so of the teams building out these players, right? Where right now you can say a good argument that maybe two of the top 5 players in the entire region are Vulcan and Blabber. Blabber is the MVP. Insanity comes in. He's not even a top 5 mid laner in the academy, and he looks great. He has some mistakes. He looks green at parts, but he stands his own. And it's hilarious how people are finally starting to see, Insanity's actually, good? Yes, he's good. It's not... Look at Evolved. Look at Palafox. Look at Sligo. These players are good. It's not like Blabber. Blabber is a very special player, but it's not like he's the only person. I don't think people saw Vulcan, who Vulcan was, until he went to Cloud9, was developed properly, and was given a partner in Sven that really brought out his full talents. Jack saw the potential in Vulcan, spending the $1.75 million to buy him out, and now Vulcan, very much can be said, is the best support in the West, not the West, in NA. We'll see at Worlds if he can be the best support in the West, but we're finally starting to see that these NA talents are actually there. These players aren't just deficient. Just because solo queue is awful doesn't mean that we don't have talent in NA. It just needs the proper care and crafting from these organizations to build them up. Blabber should be the first of many players that we see as NA MVPs. There's no reason a player like Evolved, who's in Academy smashing people, shouldn't be up in LCS next split. Obviously, he's on TSM, which means he's probably not going to start in front of Bjergsen. But if you're an organization like Dignitas or even EG, for an extent, why not go all in on Evolved? Why not try to get him when you have so many young, talented players in NA, in Academy right now, ready to burst out if the right development? Look at Tactical. He's doing amazing. Even John Sun on the train wreck that is Dignitas. Him and Aftermore are the shining light on that team. So there's NA talent. There's players in this region that can win Worlds if developed properly. We just have to develop them. And we have to give them the respect and the time needed to develop, because for so long we've tried these players out, given them 2 to 3 games, and then throw them back in the academy and never to be seen again. And that's a terrible thing to do.
I mean, I have a lot of
disagrees.
I was going to say, I have a lot of opinions on this, but I know we're doing an LCS versus Academy show next week, so I'll save most of them for that. I do think that the big thing is how organizations look at talent and are raising them, and what their attitudes are towards the LCS stage in general.
Yeah. I think, like, to Tyler's point, I think it's an organization thing. You know, I talked about this on a previous show, that I think that generally, like, a lot of these orgs should feel more compelled to take risk, right? Like, there's this, like, common, like, win now mentality that exists in North America, and it exists for two reasons. One, because a lot of teams are very uninteresting as businesses, so they need to win to attract sponsors, but they also, like, have made promises to investors that they're going to be good competitive teams, so they have to fulfill those promises if they want to continue to build those relationships financially. And it's like, honestly, like, North American League of Legends teams need to figure out how to be more interesting without it being performance based. So then on the performance side of things, they can build from scratch.
We're going to talk about this, as Emily said. Next week, we're going to do a whole chunk of the Rift Rewind dedicated to LCS versus Academy, and which teams in Academy would compete in the LCS, and which players we should be watching out for, and which ones deserve some LCS love. Tyler, last point on this?
I'm not saying Evolve could go into LCS right now and smash Bjergsen or any players like that. I'm not saying that. Blabber took two and a half years to become who he is, who I would say right now is a world-class jungler. I don't think you can look at Blabber's mechanics and how he's playing and say he's not only the most successful jungler in LCS history if you just look at the pure stats, but I think he is capable of doing great things on the world stage on the right team, and I think Cloud9 could be that team. Sadly, there's not a lot of competition in NA, so we'll see how Cloud9 can do going into Worlds when they have really no one to test them.